Welcome back to Breaking Fallout. In our last episode, we got to start by grabbing a legendary weapon out of Vault 111, getting dog meat to do such, and then we started messing around with things in Sanctuary. You can see I've cleared out a lot of stuff. Pretty much anything I could scrap, I did scrap. I might have missed a few things, but that's that. So what we're going to do is now we're going to come here to the workshop and we're going to transfer everything onto our person. And now we can't run. But we're going to put away a few items. Things we're not going to be needing right now. But don't put anything live into your workshop. What I mean by that is don't put ammo with weapons in the workshop. Or frag grenades, any kind of grenades, mines, things of that nature. The reason for this being is if raiders do come through and get to your workshop, they will pick things up out of your workshop and use them against you. So if you have a really nice weapon stored in there with the ammo to fire out of it as well, yeah, it's not good. But any... Nice. Anything we're not going to be keeping on our person. Fun fact with the summer shorts, I would be able to wear leg and arm armors, but if I remember correctly, that is meant for a female character. I mean, just not the color combination I'd personally wear. And they're a bit short for me. Still, for the added protection, we're gonna go with it. Do I have... I do. And eventually it's going to be surpassed and we're gonna have something else anyway. I'm gonna keep things on me for intelligence just because that can help out later if need be. The wedding rings sell for a high value if you want to keep them on you. Just like the gold bars that we picked up, but there's really no need. Just because it can be upgraded, I like to keep it on me. I mean, it only weighs 1 pound. But we're going to store any old world food we happen to pick up. Now, the reason we took everything is so we could get all of this junk in our inventory, but we're going to go through and we're going to pick out things that name themselves, that are raw components. See how acid has acid, but you get acid, antiseptic, and fiberglass from a Bruxo cleaner? We want to go through and just get the raw materials out of the way. This is going to help you do two things. One, it's going to sort what we need to break down, and two, it's going to allow you to see what breaks down into what. So that's the idea right now. Ceramic, cloth, concrete, fiberglass, fertilizer, gears, glass, nuclear material, oil, plastic, rubber. And you got a good bit of rubber, wood, and steel from breaking everything down in Sanctuary. Yeah. Good bit of steel. And we're going to end up getting more of it anyway from breaking the rest of this down. Good bit of wood. Okay, now, I like to stand right about here in the center of this. I need... Hold on. As I was breaking down everything in Sanctuary, I did keep a few chairs and couches. I stored them instead of scrapped them. The reason for this being, eventually this is going to be a settlement with settlers in it, and they like to have places to sit down. I've eliminated the places around Sanctuary for them to sit down to the bunkhouse here. I always turn this into the bunkhouse because A, the settlers that come here constantly work on this house for some reason, just as something to do, and B, there was already pretty much a workshop here, so I finished the workshop. But I also stored, is it decoration? Yeah. There are 3 dog houses scattered about Sanctuary. And we're going to go ahead and put them out because besides dog meat, you can get other dogs as well. And it gives him a place to chill. The reason I'm saying that is because I just want him to get out of the way. Otherwise, he's going to be walking through what we're trying to accomplish here. So, just like we scrapped that wrench, that's what we're about to do, but we're going to do it to everything in our inventory. So this is going to get hectic. You're just going to drop everything. Now the reason I suggest that you stand on this little concrete slab is because certain textures on the map like to hide the smaller pieces of junk you may be dropping, and this concrete slab does not allow that to happen. So you might be able to actually see everything you need to scrap. And it's the middle of the night, so we're going to turn on our light. And we're going to grab all these resources. Now, get used to this whole concept of dropping something and scrapping it, because, really. No, I don't need that. I didn't need that at all. Because eventually this is going to be part of the duplicating that we're going to be doing. We got a runner. So the way that the duplicating works is you can see here, as I hover over something, I have 3 options. I can select it, which means I can pick it up and move it. I can scrap it, which then brings this up, asking if I actually want to scrap it or cancel. And then I have store it, which it asks me if I actually want to store it or no. So we're going to be exploiting that when we get all these raw components down. What we're going to do is we're going to drop the raw components, and we're going to be scrapping them. So we're going to hit square and then X pretty rapidly. But as soon as we hit X, we're going to follow it up by hitting circle. So it would be XAB if you're on Xbox. Not sure what commands it would be for console. But basically you're trying to interrupt scrapping the object, and then you're going to store it. So again, you're kind of rolling your fingers. What I like to do is I like to take the middle and index finger, my pointer finger on my left hand, and have those over square and X, and then take my thumb on my right hand and hold it over B, or circle, whichever console I'm on at the moment. And what that's going to allow us to do is we're going to be duping the raw materials that way. So you heard the sound that we were getting every time we scrap something, right? So now if we come here to our junk, and you see we have all this junk now. We're going to take every bit of it. And we're going to drop it on the ground, just like we did with everything before. Now I'm going to hold off on things that are below 6 because they'll drop individually, so I'm just trying to drop groups right now, clusters as it were. get those out of the way, and then we will come back for everything else. Now, while using this duplication glitch, I like to get my resources at least above a 200, except for steel and wood at this point in time, because they can be used to boost levels. So again, I'm trying to hit square, X, and then circle almost like a millisecond after X. Now you heard the scrap sound go off. It's still asking me if I want to store it. So store it. So now if we go in, I have 28 acid. So let's drop it again, and you'll see it'll drop 2 of them. That's where it gets confused, because here's the one we scrapped and here's the one we stored. So now if you pick them back up, which is what I suggest doing just because it makes it a whole lot easier, you go back into your build menu. So again, you're going to scrap and then hit store really fast. In case it doesn't pop up, you can always cancel, but you need to hear that scrap noise. Oh, come on. There we go. And still get the, do you want to store it? And now you see we have 56 acid, and it'll keep doing that. Now, the reason I drop it and pick it back up when it splits like that is because if you do just decide to keep going with it, come on now. If you do decide to keep going with it, it'll actually continue to duplicate, and by not just the number, it'll duplicate the quantity that it'll drop. I'm trying to get it to demonstrate. There we go. So now you can see I have 168 acid, but when I drop it, there's 3 of them, and the game gets incredibly confused this way. So at least when it gets to 3 of them, pick them back up. But I'm going to be doing this for all of these items, including the steel and the wood, even though, like I said, get your everything up to at least over a 200 is what I like to do. So when it comes to the acid, see, I got it up to a 168 at this point in time. If I can get it one more time, boom, 336. The reason I say 200 is because when you're crafting and you notice, oh, I've dropped below 200, then you can go ahead and do this again and have infinite resources. You don't have to go farm. You don't have to pick up the junk. I know there are mods that just give you infinite, or they say infinite, but yeah, this is, you know, once you get good at it, it's actually quite efficient, quick and easy. But the reason I say keep doing this with steel and wood, even as you're getting everything else up to a 200, is because you can boost your level with these. So let me step out of the circle. I'm going to do this over here. If you go into furniture, go into shelves, and then look at your steel and wood shelving for the wall, you can actually continuously build on top of each other. So this is a good way to boost your level early on. See, I've already hit level 3 doing this. And then whenever you run out of the resource, you can go into like super scrap mode here, going back and forth between your square and X or your X and A, and get half of the resource you just spent leveling up back. I just like to do it that way because if you let it get too far, eventually the game will lag out, especially if you're on an older console like me. But that's how you get an early level boost. This is how you get infinite resources. Now, mind you, I did not get every resource. You can't find crystal unless you're incredibly lucky, and it was in some of the junk that was randomly generated in a container. But crystal, fiber optics, there's only one guaranteed nuclear material from the Blast Radius board game, but and you're not going to get it every time, but don't worry. whether you end up scrapping it or storing it, it just gets stored back in the oh, come on now, stored back in the back in the workshop, so you can just try it later. You didn't lose anything. If you were trying to do it off of an item, like if you were trying to do this dupe glitch with the gold bars so you could keep the gold bars to sell them and then still get the gold you get from scrapping them, yeah, if you mess up and you just end up scrapping it, that's just how it went. But I like doing these lesser ones first or afterwards, because eventually they will end up in a cluster as well. But, and again, it is all about timing. Make sure that you listen for that scrap noise. That's how you know you got it, and that's when you can store. Because you're basically just trying to interrupt the scrap with the store option. You're trying to get it to store right before it actually scraps the item. That's the idea, and it just takes a little bit of timing. But my wife, thanks to the popularity of the TV show, finally got into this, and I showed her how to do it. She's not a big gamer. You know, she plays a few tablet games, but even she eventually figured out the timing and rhythm you want for this, and got pretty good at it. So, yeah. I know my first episode was rather long. This one's rather short just because I'm going to be duplicating and getting, again, everything to about 200 or better in my resources that I have right now, and then we're going to go try and find more resources, make some friends and whatnot in the next episode. But hopefully you found this informative and entertaining. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.